Hey guys, tonight we're trading Netflix binges for something hotter than a jalapeno sauna. Picture this: your sandals crunch on volcanic glass shards under a moon that's working overtime. The air's thick enough to chew, smells like burnt honey, and someone's questionable life choices. Spoiler alert: you probably won't survive this royal casino night. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know you're still breathing in the comments. Drop your city and current local time. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your toes curl against cold stone, each obsidian shard beneath your feet, sharper than a breakup text. Moonlight bleeds through smog. This ain't your yoga. Retreats, harmonious balance. Two lords hunch over a slab of polished basalt, their jeweled fingers casting spider-leg shadows across the board. Cocoa beans glisten like molten amber in clay bowls, the original high-stakes poker chips. You lean closer. The humid air sticks to your neck like a jealous ex. Scholars confirmed it last century. Each bean was literally worth its weight in gold. Yet here they gamble entire harvests on a game mimicking cosmic wars. One ruler's wearing a headdress so heavy it's giving him a posture crisis. His opponent keeps adjusting jade cuffs, probably questioning every life choice since breakfast. Chanting priests circle like vultures in feather cloaks, their rhythms synced to your hammering pulse. Modern archaeologists found cocoa residue in jars, mislabeled as ceremonial wine. Sneaky bean accounting. That dude in the turquoise sash, he's down 16,000 beans and sweating like a sinner in confession. The crowd's murmurs blend into a single insect hum, sharp enough to pierce bone. Every move sends obsidian pieces, clacking black mirrors, reflecting your wide-eyed panic. Historians still argue whether these games settled wars, or just bragging rights over who had the fancier headdress. Right now, you're betting your afterlife on Lord Grumpy Pants' next move. His hand hovers over a pawn shaped like a howler monkey. This won't end well. Torch flames spit embers onto the board. Nobody bothers brushing them off. The beans shimmer brighter as shadows deepen. Streetlights of the underworld guiding lost bets. Your throat parches. Ritual smoke tastes like someone set a spice rack on fire. That feverish moon from the intro. Turns out it's eclipse season, celestial drama for your doom spiral. A servant slips you a gourd of something fizzy. It reeks of fermented regret. You drink anyway. Across the plaza, stone jaguars snarl with pearl teeth, ready to swallow cowards whole. The crowd's sudden silence hits harder than a 2 a.m. existential crisis. Lord Turquoise Cuff slams down a piece. The crack echoes through your molars. His grin reveals teeth filed to points. Ancient influencer chic at its most unhinged. You realize too late that's not roasted corn they're serving as halftime snacks. The plaza's torchlight dances across those glossy cocoa mounds, each bean a promise of power, a puff of soul steam from the gods themselves. You've heard the basics. Mayans used these bitter seeds as cash. But here, under stars that pulse like open wounds, you realize cocoa isn't money. It's blood. It's breath. A lord across the board fans his beans like playing cards, leaning close enough for you to smell the burnt honey taint of his defeat sweat. Champions don't just bet farms or wives here. They stake moonlight hours, the number of heartbeats left in their fathers, the exact shade of blue in their newborn's first cry. Laughter explodes to your left. A gambler's fist slams down, scattering beans that roll toward the abyss of a ceremonial drain. Archaeologists found a jade bead wedged in one such drain last century. Some think it's proof of hidden side bets. Others whisper it's a lost game piece tossed by a lord who forgot the rules mid-bluff. Watch how the players lick their palms before scooping beans, saliva sealing pacts with chalk. The rain god. Historians still argue whether they actually ate the wager beans or just offered their manicured fingernail clippings. Either way, the death god, Ah Puch, sitting cross-legged in the shadows, is definitely keeping score. Your sandal crunches something. Not obsidian, not cocoa, just a discarded howler monkey tooth, someone's ill-advised lucky charm. The board resets as slaves rub fresh resin into its cracks. You catch a whiff of fermented cacao, sour and sacred, from the victory cup being passed among the noblest losers. A drunk lord hiccups his last 5 beans onto the board. His opponent, a teenager painted like a pink flamingo, calculates odds with eyelid twitches. The math isn't mathing. Every 10th bean here has a glyph carved by priests, the divine equivalent of a casino's high-limit stamp. Somewhere in some temple, a scribe's carving tonight's losses into limestone. Millennia from now, overpriced textbooks will call this monetary policy. Don't be fooled. This isn't economics, it's gravity. The moment a bean rolls, kingdoms rise. The second it stops, daughters become bargaining chips. A servant slips, spilling a basket of fresh beans that bounce like obsidian hail. No one moves to help. Let the gods sort them. Tradition says beans landing cocoa tip-up must be offered to the board itself, a snack for the ever-hungry stone. Your stomach growls. The nearest noble glares. Don't even think about it. That jittery player to your right. See how his cheeks bulge. Rumor says a merchant once swallowed 37 beans to hide losses, only to regurgitate them during his daughter's wedding. The beans had sprouted. Let's just say the groom's family demanded a discount. Moonlight slices through smoke as the pink flamingo kid makes his move, plucking a bean from the pot, biting it clean in half. Sweetness or rot? His tongue darts out. The crowd leans in 23 nobles, exhaling in unison. The beans hollow. A gasp tears through the plaza. Hollow beans mean divine intervention. Ah Puch rises, rattling his hip bag of human teeth. The kid's smile says it all. Checkmate by God Sabotage, the oldest trick in the cosmos. Your fingers brush a lone bean on the ground. Do you pocket it? Toss it? Let it burn? Doesn't matter. Centuries later, some caffeine-addled grad student will argue this moment never happened. Their proof: a smudged glyph, a disputed carbon date, a monkey tooth paperweight on a tenured professor's desk. The wind shifts, torches gutter. Somewhere beyond the plaza, beyond the jungles, beyond Cortez, wet dreams of gold, a vending machine hums to life. Its last Snickers bar waits, but here now, there's only the click, click, click of obsidian meeting obsidian, and the wet slap of a lord's tears hitting beans he'll never own. The obsidian board glows, veins of quartz catching moonlight like trapped lightning. This isn't chess as you know it. Every pawn's base bears a constellation glyph, Orion's belt tangled in a jaguar's tail, the Pleiades smeared into a drunkard's fingerprints. Historians still argue whether these carvings tracked Venus or just matched noble birth dates. Either way, you flinch as a player slams down his rook. They're literally playing with stars. Breathe deep. That's not smoke. It's ground up jade sprinkled to bless the board. Scribes crouch nearby, their brushes loaded with stingless bee honey mixed with nightshade ink. Every captured piece gets a tally mark on their calfskin scrolls. Archaeologists found one such scroll in the 90s, carbon dated to 700 CE, that still smells of fermented avocado leaves. Watch the current player, a lord, whose headdress drips oyster pearls, hover his bishop over a cracked square. Legend claims the original boards mirrored the Milky Way's curve. Modern Las Vegas, craps tables use the same layout, though your odds of spotting a celestial badger god in Caesar's palace slimmer. A slave boy refills the cocoa bed bowl. Notice his earlobes, stretched by obsidian, plugs the size of drink coasters. Records show some noblemen wore plugs so heavy, their torn earlobes required stitching. You're not here for the fashion tips, though. That bishop just sacrificed itself. The crowd hisses as the scribes scratch 3 glyphs, death, dishonor, drought, onto their scroll. Check the losing lord's face. His nostrils flare. His fists clench, but no tears. Crying voids all wagers. Smart. Last month, diggers unearthed a ceremonial mask near Tikal, its eye holes crusted with salt. Some say it's proof of a king who wept himself blind over a rigged dice toss. Your sandal kicks something. A carved rabbit tooth filed into a die. Flip it. 6 pockmarks stained with marrow. Unlucky. In 1524, a Spanish priest described similar dice made from taper knuckles, claims they rolled better during eclipses. Real science or fermented agave-fueled babble? You decide. A new player approaches, his cloak stitched with beetle wings that shimmer poison green. He sets his bet. 2 jade beads, 1 albino peccary tusk, and his firstborn's naming rights. Standard Tuesday. The bean-counting priest yawns. He's seen grander wagers. Last week, someone staked 22 years of silence. Notice the board's edge. Those zigzag carvings aren't decoration. They're a drought forecast. Every game shifts the pattern. High priests use them to predict rainy seasons. Failed to do that in 2012. Still, NASA did confirm the base design aligns with the Maya long count calendar. A servant offers you fermented cocoa. Decline. That frothy muck's brewed with hallucinogenic morning glory seeds. One sip and you'd be arguing with Ah Puch's shadow for hours. Overhead, parrots screech betting odds, or maybe that's just tinnitus from the earlier drum solo. The beetle cloak lord makes his move. A pawn leaps 3 squares. Gasps ripple. Only queens should move diagonally. His opponent slams a hand on the board, rattling constellations. Scribes consult decaying codices. Rule number 42. If jade dust clouds both players' vision, consult the eldest howler monkey present. Too late. The accuser pulls a cacao pod from his sleeve, rotten pulp oozing. An accusation of cheating. Beans or blood, the crowd chants. Beetle Cloak hesitates, then licks the mush off his accuser's palm. His tongue turns cerulean. Innocent, for now. You spot a flicker. That scribe in the corner, see how his brush pauses mid-glyph. Infrared scans later revealed some scrolls had hidden layers. Palimpsests of panic, betrayals in squid ink, beneath THE Chinese letter honey script. Tenured professors still fistfight over whether these were receipts or love letters to rival gamblers. The board resets. Slaves rub it with crushed dahlias. The scent makes warriors sneeze. A lord across the way adjusts his poor posture with a back brace made from toucan beaks. Health and safety took a different vibe here. Your spine aches in solidarity. Sudden silence. That teenage challenger from earlier flamingo pink paint flaking has returned. His wager, a single charred corncob. The crowd parts. Corn's life itself here. Stakes don't get higher. His opponent, a master player missing 9 fingers, nods. Game on. Moths swarm the torches. Their shadows make the board writhe. A pawn advances, its constellation now a scorpion's claw. Somewhere beyond the plaza, a child's clay whistle trills. Time's up. The missing-fingered lord studies the cob like it holds an underworld GPS. He eats it, not a metaphor. He chews slowly, kernels sticking to his gold-capped teeth. The crowd vibrates. Corn consumed means debts absolved. Cheating or divine mercy, your call. 3 scribes faint. A 4th starts carving the scene into his own thigh. The whistle shrills again. Dawn's closer than anyone admits. Games can't outlast the night. Yet here they sit, beans sweating, gods yawning. That one howler monkey elder still waiting to arbitrate. Step back. Let the stone drink its cocoa. Let the stars reclaim their pieces. Somewhere in Vegas, a blackjack dealer splits aces. Somewhere in Belize, a tour guide recounts this exact match, bad Spanish accent included. But here, now, only the scratch of obsidian on slate and the sound of a scribe's honeyed ink drying into history's skin. Moonlight pools around Lord Canbor's sandals, each toenail lacquered the red of plucked macaw feathers. You smell his gamble before seeing it, sacks of maize heaped like slain warriors behind the board. 3 harvests worth his city's granaries hollowed out for this throw. Historians note at least 12 Mayan stelae depicting rulers betting entire maize reserves, though this idiot might top them all. His dice clatter carved from a jaguar's jawbone. 6 pips per face. Watch the crowd wince. Double sixes mean drought. Triple ones mean, well, nobody survives to describe triple ones. The Lord's jade ear spools creak. They're wider than your palms. Archaeologists found similar spools in Palenque, still wedged in a skull's elongated earlobes. Chew on that mental image next time you debate piercing your cartilage. He rolls. The dice skitter across an onyx bedding slab, kernels of corn trembling underfoot. A 6, another 6. Air evaporates. Even the howler monkeys shut up. Lord Canbor's grin dies like a snuffed torch. Some claim rulers staged these divine punishments to justify raiding neighbors. Others insist the gods just loved theater. Sweat beads on his jade gorget, a gift from his 7th wife. Capon's glyphs tell of a queen who poisoned 3 husbands via sweat-absorbent necklaces. Coincidence? The crowd doesn't care. They're already scooping maize into their cloaks. A human ant colony scrambling. Priests emerge, not the usual incense wavers. These wear scaled capes from fish that haven't swum in 8 centuries. Their censers puff frog spawn incense, supposedly keeps demons from hoarding lost bets. Modern relic hunters swear they've smelled it in Louisiana bayous, probably just expired gumbo. The dice transform. No magic, just quick fingers. A priest swaps them with limestone replicas while chanting, Kayak passage yop. Roughly, the cheating's been cheated. Bet you didn't learn that in AP Mesoamerican Studies. Too late, though. The real dice already summoned the sky's wrath. Clouds curdle, not a rain cloud in sight, just boiling dust. Your throat parches. Lord Canbor lunges for the cocoa bean pot, downing it like a frat boy at a kegger. Pathetic. Beans can't quench this thirst. His counselors scatter, save one. A bone-thin man clutching a codex painted with laughing skulls. The drought keeper. His job, to calculate which peasants get sacrificed to Tlaloc. Pro tip, if your job title includes keeper, start updating your resume. 3 days pass in the plaza. Corn stalks crumble to ash. Noblewomen lick dew off stolen jade. The lord's once vivid toenails now chip like old pottery. Ever seen a king reduced to licking stucco for moisture? Takes the shine off monarchy real quick. A child's ball bounces your way, rubber from a sacred grove. You kick it back. Mistake. A priest hisses, that's no game. Rubber balls were ritual items, kicking them invited chaos. Whoops, the drought keeper glares. His codex now reads 15 days till bone rain. Optimist. Lord Canbor staggers toward the board, still clutching empty cocoa husks. His gamble's final move, stripping jade tiles from his palace floors to bet on rain clouds. The board rejects them. Obsidian eats jade for breakfast. Dawn cracks the horizon, a sickly yellow. The crowd's gone. Only you and the scribe remain. His brush frozen mid-glyph, hubris, halfway to humiliation. Somewhere, a conquistador's descendant sips cocoa plotted from this debacle, the circle of life, with extra cavities. Copal smoke coils around your ankles, thick enough to chew. The scribe's abandoned inkwell overflows, black rivulets snaking toward your sandals. Priests materialize through the haze, their censers swinging in syncopated arcs. Each bronze bowl vomits resin-scented nightmares. You've heard of these rituals, copal incense, purifying sacred spaces. But textbooks never mentioned the migraine vibes. One priest locks eyes with you, his pupils swallowed by yellowish film. Colonial accounts describe smoke seers who communed with ancestors through narcotic vapors. More likely, dudes just needed better ventilation. Your lungs stage a revolt. Each breath feels like inhaling burnt honey. The surviving lord shudders at the obsidian board, his opponent's grin flickering through the haze. That smile. Flint knives envy its edge. Rumor has it Tikal's rulers filed their teeth to points. Proof they'd bite the sun if it betrayed them. Your molars ache in solidarity. A priest chants words warped by a split uvula. Keuhul ahau, Keox, Holy Lord, Forest, the rest dissolves into coughing. Scholars still argue whether copal smoke carried prayers or just masked the stench of bloodletting. Tonight's performance review leans toward ineffective air freshener. The trembling lord reaches for a pawn, a jaguar-headed warrior mid-leap. His fingers brush the piece. Mistake. Obsidian bites, blood beads along the carvings, maw a crimson leash, tethering him to the game. Archaeologists found similar blood residue on game pieces at El Mirador. Practice sessions must have been a riot. Across the board, Flint Smile yawns. He flicks a cocoa bean into the smoke. It vanishes, swallowed by the haze. Coins clink in his sleeve. Cheater. But here's the kicker. X-ray scans of Mayan codices reveal hidden pockets in noblemen's robes, perfect for smuggling rigged pieces. History's oldest hustle. A drum hiccups. 12 priestly knees hit stone, their censers pressed to foreheads. The smoke thickens, twisting into serpent shapes. Your eyes water. 2 serpents. 7 serpents. Count them at your peril. Houston's Rothko Chapel recreated this smoke effect. For a 1998 art installment, visitors sued for nausea. Flint Smile slides a pawn forward, contempt in every micron. His move, a classic ruler's Sicilian defense, named after Palin's king who bet his sister's dowry on a gambit. She married a spice trader instead. Modern chess nerds still debate if it's a legitimate opening or just royal cope. The bleeding lord whimpers. not a regal sound. His earlobe spools tremble, jade discs the size of coaster tiles. You remember the over-pierced phalanx skull. Maybe earlobe workouts existed. 10 reps with ceremonial jade. Get those lobes festival ready. Smoke serpents constrict the board. Flint Smiles' pawn takes a priest. Literally, the man jerks forward, forehead searing on the obsidian. His censer clatters, spilling ash across the cocoa beds. Nobody reacts. Occupational hazard. Glyphs at Yaxchilan show scribes getting zapped by rogue game pieces. Team building exercises included tetanus shots. A new sound slices through, high and reedy. Bone flute, the melody, hymn of the watery grave, played during royal funerals or particularment awkward tax negotiations. Flint Smiles' grin widens. He's bluffing. Probably. Last month, divers found a lord's flute in a cenote, still playable after 12 centuries. Try that with a fender. The bleeding lord pulls a glyph-laden ring from his pinky, family crests etched in weak sunlight. He slams it onto the board. Third pawn row. Fourth square. The ring shatters, onyx shards spelling out IXIM maze. Archaeologists would hyperventilate. You just see a dude betting his last Chipotle coupon. Flint Smiles snaps his fingers. A servant scuttles in offering a carved box. Inside, dust. Literally. Grave dust from Flint Smiles' great-granduncle, a general who choked on a beetle nut mid-victory. Morbid confetti. His move, sacrificing ancestors for board advantage. Classic toxin strategy. Tourism boards hate this one trick. Your sandal squelches. The scribe's escaped ink, now a mini delta around your toes. The surviving glyphs curl like scorched bacon. Hubris, humiliation. Huevos rancheros. Wait, nope. That last one's your stomach. Dawn's 3 hours gone breakfast is a myth here. Flint Smiles' dust-animated ancestor materializes, translucent and petty. He points at the bleeding lord's remaining pieces. An unfair advantage, unless you count necromancy as creative problem-solving. Modern purists argue this violated sacred game rules. Opportunists counter. If dead grandpas can't help you win, why even have dead grandpas? The Lord makes his final play, a jagged tooth pulled from his own gums. It lands beside the shattered ring. Blood pools, forming a crude crown shape. Cute. Flint Smiles' ancestor frowns. Turns out, dental artifacts trump grave dust in overtime. Who knew? Priests collapse their censers, guttering out. The smoke dissolves, leaving a greasy film on your tongue. Flint Smiles' grin finally slips his flint blunted. The bleeding lord wheezes victory, a sound like punctured bellows. His prize, a 6x6 plot in the royal cemetery pre-dug. You step back, ink staining your heel like a cursed tattoo. Somewhere, a modern Maya descendant sips espresso, oblivious to their ancestors' dental sacrifice. The game resets, Obsidian thirsting for fresh blunders. Same as it ever was, the ink-stained courtyard dissolves into tapestry shadows. The concubine's laughter ricocheting off polished onyx columns. You blink, suddenly seated on a cushion-set dais, a beetle nut's acrid musk clawing your sinuses, slivers of moonlight catch, silk-draped trays below dull clinks, suggesting more than roasted squash seeds. A mute servant brushes past, his elbow grazing your knee. Something cold presses your thigh, a jade token etched with Ixchel's crescent. You pocket it, reflex. 3 hours ago you judge. Now, free swag's free swag, the concubine Lady Jade Skull, or Lady Bad Life Choices, sways between two warlords. Her belt clatters with shell coins. Redundant. Everyone knows beetle nuts were the real currency here. 90% of Mesoamerican trade routes ferried those stimulant-packed seeds. Her fingers glitter onyx rings turned inward. Left pinky twitches. Signal. You check your stolen token matching crescents. Oops. Across the hall, a servant trips. His tray upends, obsidian pawns rolling into shadowed corners. Replacement pieces materialize from his sash, slightly larger. Classic Baytan switch. Infrared imaging proved some nobles weighted pawns with lead cores, though scholars still argue if it was cheating or performance art. Lady, whatever leans over her target, a warlord stupefied by her clove-perfumed hair. Her laugh dips into a whisper you catch. Xibalba's third gate. Cheap theatrics, but the warlord's hand trembles, cocoa beans spilling from his underseat stash. A beetle nut cracks your neighbor's teeth flash crimson in torchlight. Chewing that stuff stained royals, mouths blood red, proof they fed on enemy's essence, or maybe they just enjoyed the nicotine buzz. The servant refilling your cup hides a smirk, half his molars replaced with carved bone dice. Yikes, the concubine's hairpin grazes the warlord's neck, drawing a bead of scarlet. Flirting. Assassination. Hard to tell with these people. She licks the blood, his beans now hers. 2014. Digs uncovered lip stains on ritual blades. The original, sealed with a kiss. Your jade token warms, carvings glowing faintly. Lady Death Giggle meets your gaze, chin dipping imperceptibly. Sighing, you drop the token into a passing wine jug. It sinks, triggering a gurgle. The floor beneath the warlord's cushion liquefies, swallowing his remaining beans. He accuses the wrong lord. Chaos ensues. Amid shouts, a servant sidles up. His tray holds tamales and a miniature game board. He taps a pawn, it's your face, not your best angle. Before you can protest, the concubine's sleeve accidentally ignites a tapestry, distraction maximized. Smoke alarms would have been handy. Instead, guests crawl toward exits, stepping on rigged pawns. A lord's headdress catches fire, improvised torch. Lady, why do you hate us? Slips away, her silk slippers tracking cocoa smears toward the armory. Of course, you follow, crunching a stray beetle nut. Numbness spreads like Novocaine and adrenaline eloped. Hidden passageways stink of damp limestone and poor decisions. Her laugh echoes ahead, now edged with panic. You round a corner facing not the concubine, but 8 identical statues. Oh, right, the royal decoy program. Modern linguists debate surviving triplet glyphs were they body doubles or scribal typos. Your throbbing jaw says body doubles. A child-sized skeleton grins from an alcove holding a rigged die. 1920s explorers dubbed these two mascots little losers until carbon dating proved them sacrificial. You toss the die, it lands on a glyph meaning ETERN, a L Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, doubtful. Echoes of clashing obsidian snap you back. The concubine disarms a guard, her stolen blade pressing his jugular. Wait her wrists, Inca-style tattoos. Time travelers? Probably not. Trade networks reached farther than textbooks admit. She knees the guard's groin, nobility's universal weak spot, and grabs a cedar box. Inside, sand. Not just sand, hourglass sand. She empties it over the armory's weapon pile. Guards stir, rubbing their eyes. Drugged, Mondragon University found trace sedatives in Chichen Itza's hourglasses. Royal siestas took dark turns. Your stolen token vibrates, cracking in half. A cobalt powder erupts, blinding everyone. By the time vision returns, the concubine's gone. Only a honey jar remains, lid askew. Inside, a papyrus note. 30 beans buys silence. You pocket it. The warlord's muffled roars suggest someone's cocoa-less future. Back in the hall, a servant offers you tamales again. This time you check for poison. Paranoia pairs nicely with ceremonial mead. Dawn filters through smoke holes. The game board reset with fresh pawns. Your cushion sand beetle nut numbness fade. Somewhere, a concubine counts beans and laughs. Somewhere, a museum intern confuses her stolen hairpin for a paperweight. The wager continues, just with better lighting. Your eyelids flutter open to raucous shrieks, not human, but primate. Moonlight bleeds through your eyelids, dawns an illusion here, knee-deep in mangrove muck, saltwater leaching the chicle sap from your sandals. Remember, Lady Ixchel's not your name anymore, just the featherless. 16,000 cocoa beans clatter into coatl cedar chest, a sound like teeth on obsidian. Your feathered breastplate hits the tiles, quetzal plumes worth 3 years' trade along the Motagua River. No one mentions the weight difference. Cheating's a spectator sport here. The howler monkeys agree, their rotten fruit barrage smacking your shoulder. Free samples of existential dread. You wade toward drier land, each suck of mud a petty jibe. 20 years ago, this swamp was maize fields. Your great-great-grandfather's drought contingency plan. Oops. A passing macaque drops a half-chewed cacao pod, still fermenting. Classy. You pocket it anyway. Survival tip. Hunger outshames pride. 12 hours since exile. 13 since that rigged pawn. The board's twin obsidian kings still leer behind your eyelids, their jagged smiles accusing. Your maidservant's face flashes, her stumble spilling the tamale tray. 47 beans to bribe her, leftover pocket change from better days. Mangrove roots slither around your ankles, nature's own manacles. Historians still argue whether the Maya viewed howler monkeys as divine or just chatty pests. Right now, their screeches sound suspiciously like laughter. Your water-stained hewable clings, 3D printing a map of regret across your ribs. You find a semi-dry slab, limestone edges biting your thighs. The cacao pod oozes between your fingers, proto-chocolate slime. Desperation's cookbook. Step 1. 3 beetles drown themselves in the mush, their tiny legs kicking. Protein's protein. Fire would be nice. Flints confiscated, exiles get deprivation's starter pack. Your jade ear flare remains, the one not yanked out during the disagreement. You strike it against the stone. Sparks fizzle, nobility's anti-survival streak strikes again. Monkeys quiet suddenly, their silence louder than drums. You freeze. Jaguar. Worse. The obsidian chessboard glints through a break in the trees, relics from your chambers hauled into the plaza. They're playing without you. Coatl's laugh carries, a machete dragged over honeycomb. Your discarded breastplate materializes on a scarecrow quetzal feathers molting into the muck. One beam of sunlight ignites the remaining gold wire brief, glorious, gone, like your rain. A howler monkey urinates on it. Critics rave, 10 days pass. Your survival CV grows, fermented cacao facial masks, snail omelets, sleeping in bat guano for warmth. The monkeys soften or grow bored. They hurl unripe papayas instead of feces. Progress. One night drums, not the usual dusk serenades. War rhythms. Coatl's face flickers in your mind, gold nose ring, catching the torchlight as he scooped your beans. Should have known that man couldn't strategize his way out of a palm frond hut. Dawn reveals the truth. Smoke smudges the northern horizon. Your former city burns. Karma's a capricious patron goddess. She accepts cocoa bets. You spit a beetle nut husk into the muck. Old habits cling like mangrove roots. The monkeys lead you inland, their fur matted, with the same ash coating your tongue. You pass abandoned sweat baths, their once steamy chambers choked with vines. 30 steps later, it appears, a clandestine ball court, its hoops dangling with faded quetzal plumes. Your plumes. Inside, a weathered chessboard etched into limestone. Obsidian pieces remain frosted with lichen. The kings toppled their jagged heads, resting against each other, checkmate eternal. Your finger traces the board's grooves, sensing the phantom beans, still warming the stone. Monkeys chatter above, their argument over a mango turns violent. You pocket a pawn, lichen scraping your palm. Coatl's rain burns. Your advisors rot in forgotten tombs, yet this board endures, its silent wagers outliving dynasties. You bury the pawn under guano protection against looters. Let future archaeologists weep over the stench. The monkeys resume their fruit wars, their shrieks smudging into white noise. Somewhere, a fallen king's bones crackle in the flames. Somewhere, Your shadow grows lighter. Survival tip 73. Mangroves hide more than exile's shame. Currents carry shipwrecked gourds, sealed jugs of pulque buried by paranoid merchants. You sip the lukewarm nectar, praying it's not ceremonial laxative brew. Too late, your gut churns, mangrove roots become emergency latrines. The monkeys applaud. At least someone's entertained. Two vultures circle. Mesopotamia had scavenger birds. The Maya had these guys. You toss a papaya pit, missing by leagues. 9th straight loss. The Obsidian Player's Handbook, page 1. Never wed a warlord who counts beans during consummation. Page 2. Exiles just prelude to better gossip. A beetle navigates your big toe, dubious pilgrimage. Sunset stains the swamp blood jaguar red, your lips crack, repeating old victory chants. Coatl's smoke plumes have faded. Tomorrow, maybe fish traps. Maybe crocodile encounters. Definitely more papayas. The monkeys huddle closer, their body heat a taunt. Survival's a crooked game. But as the chessboard taught, you only lose when you stop playing. The pawn in your pocket hums, lichen-glowing faintly. Somewhere a jaguar coughs. Somewhere a bean sprouts in the ashes. Sleep comes sharp as Obsidian dreams replaying your last move. The rigged pawn's weight so obvious in hindsight. You'll carve a better one next time. From mangrove wood, from bones, from whatever's left. The howler monkeys begin their midnight aria, a dirge for your featherless state. You harmonize. Badly. Their screeches dwindle into grudging respect. Or deafness. The pawn warms your palm, its edges worn smooth by decades of stolen games. You sleep. Dawn leaks through the canopy, no closer than yesterday. Your fingers find the pawn first, its once jagged crown rounded by humidity. The monkeys deposit breakfast, a shattered clay cup brimming with termites. You bow, court etiquette dies hard. They watch you eat tiny judges of an exiled queen. Let them stare. Let them tally. Tomorrow's bets wait, smoldering in ashes and mangrove rot. You've learned the oldest rule. Every loser's circle is someone else's starting square. The air tastes like burnt clay, your tongue cleaving to the roof of your mouth before you even open it. 20 summers without rain turned the once vibrant court into a dust bowl. The Obsidian chessboard, now a graveyard of fractured hopes. They play on cracked limestone under a white-hot sky, two warlords bedding reservoirs. Instead of cocoa, you recognize the pieces. Chak-sib-chak's onyx rook chipped from your grandfather's victory steel. Classy recycling. Crowds huddle in what shade remains, their lips split into grins of cracked leather. Bets ripple through the mob. A cacao bean worth 3 sips from the last functional synod. Mainstream historians love documenting drought rituals. Less so the fact that lords still wagered their children's water rations. Decorum's a stubborn beast. The taller warlord face, obscured by a jaguar skull helmet, slams a pawn down. His opponent counters with a bishop, carved from a howler monkey's femur. You spot the telltale scratches, that ape's probably your third cousin by now. The board's grooves overflow with sand instead of beans. Each piece's click sounds like crumbling teeth. A sweating scribe records stakes on bark paper. It curls inward from the heat. His tally: 714 units of mourning do collection rites. Quirky tidbit: anthropologists found similar ledgers in the 1980s. Stains suggest scribes used hallucinogenic frog secretions for divine math. Explains the erratic penmanship. Chak hesitates, his hand hovering over the queen. You remember her original form, jadeite mined from the Matagua River, now pitted as a smoker's lung. His rival drums fingers on a dehydrated squash, ancient version of psychological warfare. The crowd's wheezing mimics a death rattle. Two vultures land near the board, unofficial referees. One pecks at a pawn. The warlords ignore it. Etiquette's flexible when your city's sucking air through damp rags. You crouch beside a sand-blinded elder. He mistakes you for a hallucination. They say the winner gets first pick of the sacrificial cisterns, he rasps. Bonus: losers become fertilizer for the last surviving agave field. The jaguar-skulled lord makes his move, sacrificing the rook. Priests drag a bound captive forward, their ochre body paint flaking off. Flint knives hover. Historians still argue whether the Maya drought collapse came from climate or leaders who thought bloodletting refilled cloud reserves. The blade falls, a rusty scream, nothing happens. Then a single thunderclap. The crowd inhales as one, lungs expanding for the first time in weeks. A raindrop splashes the board, warping the sand into a mud teardrop. The warlord lifts his visor. You glimpse cracked lips, stretched into a victory snarl. His opponent collapses, shoulders shaking with either laughter or sobs. You pocket a dislodged obsidian shard, souvenir of extinction bingo. The crowd disperses, chasing the phantom storm's echo. 3 boys lick the bloody altar. Waste not. Dawn finds the plaza abandoned, wind erasing the game's memory. You press your ear to the board. Faint clicks beneath the stone, termites chewing through its last moisture-rich veins. Survival tip: even droughts end. Just not for you. The vultures lead you westward, their shadows stitching a ragged path through the dead maze. Half a day's trudge reveals the warlord's prize, a reservoir choked with algae and the bloated dead. His bronze circlet glints beneath a scum-coated surface. The rain, a coincidental hiccup. You kneel, cupping greenish sludge. Somewhere, a jaguar coughs. Somewhere, a bean sprouts in the ashes. The shard in your palm winks, a pupil reflecting the indifferent sun. Your sand-caked sandals sink into something sticky, not mud, but centuries-old copal, resin oozing from a cracked urn. Time's a tricky beast. That jaguar's cough. Now the creak of Iberian rigging. The beans sprout. A carrack's prow plowing through seafoam. You blink, suddenly flanked by stinking conquistadors dunking their fungal feet in cocoa paste. Hygiene wasn't their strong suit. A prince in toucan feather robes presents an obsidian chessboard to a sunburned Cortez, its pieces gleaming with misplaced trust. Ah, Agedres, the Spaniard grins, pocketing a pawn. His men snicker into their rusted breastplates. Mainstream history loves this bit. Moctezuma's gold, Atahualpa's ransom. Less discussed. Maya lords who tried gaming the invaders. You lean closer. The board's tiles show Cortez's face superimposed over K'Awil, the lightning god, a desperate flattery. His captains haggle stakes, using teeny crossbows as pointers. 14 cocoa beans per converted soul. 200 for a virgin forest, already stewarding 5 villages. The prince offers orphans as rooks. Quirky tidbit. Archaeologists found a 1524 ledger in Cadiz, signed by Cortez himself, listing 1 crate chess queens alongside diseased livestock. Tourism boards omit that detail. The prince mispronounces checkmate as checkmulk Mayan for the taper's revenge. No one corrects him. Cannon smoke replaces copal. A Franciscan friar blesses the board with a hand tremor, his other clutching a flask of stolen chicha. You spot the cheat. Spanish pieces have leads stuffed beneath their bases. Cortez accidentally knocks over his king. A sign from God. Soldiers reach for their Toledo steel. The prince hesitates, hand freezing mid-move. Historians still argue whether Maya leaders truly believed Cortez was Quetzalcoatl or just needed better poker faces. His index finger, lacquered with sacrificial sap, hovers over a jade bishop. Too late. A crossbowman sneezes. The bolt embeds itself in the prince's sternum. He topples forward, scattering beans across the board. Cortez tuts. Shame, I was enjoying that. You pocket a bean stamped with Habsburg eagles. Hybrid currency. Nobody told the chroniclers. They burned the board that night. Obsidian shards pop like corn in the flames, each crackle echoing older defeats. A lieutenant roasts a stolen macaw on his pike. Tastes like victory, he mumbles through feathers. You disagree. Tastes like irony. Chocolate-fueled empires undone by cocoa-based diplomacy. Midnight finds you sifting ashes. The lead-weighted king survived, its crown warped into a blob. Modern collectors would auction their mothers for this slag. Somewhere, a jaguar gnaws on a discarded conquistador boot. Somewhere, a sprout pushes through ash, kudzu this time. Progress. Dawn exposes the chessboard's ghost, a scorch mark on limestone. The friar staggers past, now dressed in the prince's feathered cape. His rosary beads clink against a cacao pod necklace. Syncretisms, a messy business. You trace the burn pattern if squinted at. It resembles a laughing face. The smoldering camp reeks of wet armor and self-delusion. Cortez pens a letter to King Charles V, easily subdued savages keen to embrace Christ's love. He omits the 23 stab wounds on the prince's corpse, roughly 1 per accepted bean. You spit resin onto the beach. Waves hiss over your toes, greedy for secrets. The lead king weighs your pocket down a pupil staring back from history's gutted belly. Your fingertips brush ceramic shards, each lacquered in resin that repelled termites for 16 centuries. Modern trowels have been kinder. Guatemala's Tikal National Park, discovered in 1848, but not fully mapped until NASA's LIDAR scans, spits up artifacts like a guilty witness. That chip in your grip, part of a pawn shaped like a howler monkey mid-screech. Rain lashes the dig site, converting Mayaphile grad students into mud sculptures. Someone's iPhone plays a podcast about Mesoamerican trade routes. You tune it out. The real stories beneath your boots, a collapsed sweat lodge turned time capsule. 3 warped game boards stack like cursed pancakes, their obsidian inlays bleeding green corrosion. Ever tried sniffing history? Rotting orchids, fermented cocoa, desperation's sour tang. A conservator in Heroes of Atlantis merch bagged a jade necklace here last Tuesday, its beads shaped like rigged dice. Quirky tidbit: termites avoid royal resin, but devour owners' names. All 3 kings under your feet. Anonymous, a grad student shouts. Her brush reveals a tally stick notched with 98 bean symbols. 2 glyphs shimmer beneath polyurethane. Chak Tok Ikok. Mainstream academia adores him, the ruler who died from a jaguar bite in 378 CE. Historians still argue whether his hunting accident was really a lost bet. Your knee pad squelches in something gelatinous. Not resin abandoned kombucha from the break tent. Priorities. You focus on the scorecard. Carbon dating says 5th century. The debt's justification. A crudely carved bishop decapitating a quetzal. Forensics proved the ink contains traces of theobromine. Someone licked their brush mid-cheat. Rainwater pools in a distracted lord's wine bowl. The sticks align, a story emerges. Chak owed 98 beans after betting against Teotihuacan's invasion. Paid in jade. Then, the jaguar. Coincidence? Ask the peanut gallery. A volunteer whispers. Friggin' Ilbialim just posted a TikTok about this. Lightning flashes. For half a heartbeat, the scorecard's notches look like claw marks. The air sizzles, ozone and hubris. You pocket a ceramic monkey paw. Your boss will dock pay. But sacrifices must be made. Somewhere above, a tour group chatters about positive energy vortexes in Pyramid IV mudslides. A buried chest emerges, sealed with rubber tree sap, holding stronger than marital vows. Inside, a king piece armored in hammered gold, and a preserved cacao pod housing beetle larvae. The rich really did have weird snacks. X-rays showed similar pods in Packle's tomb, stuffed with jadeite pebbles instead of almonds. Dusk brings howler monkeys. Their barks sync with the site director's rants about funding cuts. You linger. That chest, its interior carvings, show a lord watching Spaniards burn his ancestors' game pieces. Premonition or poetic license. Lab geeks found 17th century moth wings in the hinges. Someone's Bluetooth speaker croons breakup songs. Fitting. The resin-coated artifacts reject modern glues. Conservators now use beeswax mixes from Yucatec hives. You spit on a warped pawn. It hissed, you swear. Dig lights flicker, shadows claw up trench walls. That gold king's missing his left eye, a socket perfect for holding a single cocoa bean. Offerings need containers. Regrets need symbols. You drop in a pebble. It rattles like laughter. The scorecard fades under your headlamp's glare. 98 beans. 9 terraced temples. 1 disputed death. Closing your eyes, you see Chak's scribe etching each notch, stomach nodding as howls pierced the canopy. The jaguars approach, the unpaid debt. A king's pride outweighing predator advice. Your canteen's empty. Rats gnaw an energy bar wrapper. Civilization. As you leave, an intern trips over a freshly exposed tile, its surface etched with 6 Spanish galleons playing Patolli with Mayan skulls. You kick dirt over it, let the next sucker grapple with colonial allegories. Moonlight turns the dig into a chessboard of tarps and treachery. A security guard's muttering about chupacabras in Sector 3. You hum along, 2 steps from camp. Your boot heel snaps off, revealing a microfeather from Chak's royal headdress. The jungle winks. Dawn finds you nursing instant coffee, its bitterness a pale cousin to ceremonial xocolatl. The lab's email pings. Beetle larvae in that cacao pod. Extinct species. Feasted on chocolate until Cortez's fleet sailed. You swirl your mug. 98 beans. 5 centuries. 1 punchline. The termites got names, but not the joke. The lab's email blinks like a guilty conspirator. Those beetle larvae, Araptus cortesianus, went extinct nibbling noblemen's cocoa stashes. You imagine their final feast. Moldy beans and the salt of sweating porters. Your coffee tastes fouler now. Rain taps Morse code on the tent roof. The site director barges in hair wild, clutching a moss-caked box. 1963 find, he barks. Storage locker purge. The wood disintegrates as you lift the lid. Inside, a warped Patolli board still stinking of fermented cocoa. Mainstream museums ignore moisture-logged artifacts. Fungus writes history faster than scribes. This board's crevices cradle 17 beans, fossilized into malformed teeth. 1 bear's bite marks matching Packle the Great's dental records. Coincidence? Ask the intern discreetly, pocketing a bean. Your latex glove snags on something unexpected, carved under the board's edge. Infrared gear takes 15 minutes to boot up. Quirky reveal. The wood's cellulose fermented enough to brew weak alcohol. Pioneering archaeology, getting buzzed on artifact sweat. The scan screen flickers. There, near the center, a cluster of pinpricks forming the Tikal emblem. A cheat grid. Some queen's nail dug these marks to count opponents' pieces during night games. Historians still argue whether it's strategy or the earliest recorded instance of stop cheating, exiled. Mold blooms on your forearm like a failed tattoo. The board's previous owner, Dr. Emil Greer, 1963's most disgraced Mayanist, left notes in looping cursive. Folks think I forged the markings. Let them choke on their tenure. His flask stain halo around the word liar suggests liquid rebuttals. Cicadas scream. You rotate a bean, its surface etched with mini glyphs. K-Awil's third gamble on one side. Suck it, tax collectors on the reverse. Classic dual-purpose currency. The grad student beside you mutters, "This is why crypto won't last." Dinners interrupted by a conservator's shriek. Beetle larvae remnants in the board's grooves started fluorescing under blacklight. They pulse green, same shade as vintage uranium glass. Turns out royal cocoa beetles gorged on bioluminescent fungi. Fancy? Absolutely. Toxic. Lab rats say, ask again tomorrow. Midnight approaches. You lean too close to the infrared lens, your eyelash duplicates the cheat marks. Through the smudge, the board's grain resembles a city map. Modern streets overlie ancient wards. Same strategic choke points. Plus saw change. Dr. Greer's specter feels present. His notes detail finding the board beneath a liquor store's floor. They buried the past with techate and regret. You picture 1963 archivists sipping contraband mezcal, while Aztec revivalists picketed outside. The beans demand context. You ping a botanist friend. She zooms from a Starbucks, almond latte in hand. Fermented that long, they're basically chocolate vinegar. Also, hibiscus pollen embedded in the board. Wanna bet on ritual chasers. Downpour resumes. Tent flaps mimic erratic wings. That cheat grid glows faintly without power sources until you unplug the scanner. The dark swallows all but 3 marks, forming Orion's belt. Astronomers nod. Mayan observatories tracked Venus's cycles using similar star maps. Dawn leaks through mildew patches. Your spine crackles like the board's decaying wood. Final discovery. Microscopic gold flakes in the beetle shells. Nobility's poop glittered. Tick-tock would have loved that. You pack the relic. Its stink, now part of your hoodie's DNA. The site director waves off concerns. Greer died claiming Cortez's ghost nudged his elbow during digs. A beat. We're charging influencers to film here next week. Camp empties. Security cameras watch you swipe a single bean. It's warm, either residual decay heat or millennia of compressed shame. Lab tests await. So do HR complaints. Moonlight bends around the board's warped edges as you leave. Somewhere beneath Merida, another Dr. Greer haunts a storage unit. His successors' boots squelch toward camp, ready to misinterpret everything. Velvet ropes part with a starlit sigh. You step into air stinging of ozone and ambition. High rollers, cologne battling slot machine sweat. A blackjack dealer's nails click against green felt. Or is that the obsidian pendant beneath his tie? Historians note Vegas casinos borrowed Mesoamerican motifs for exotic flair. In the 1960s, though no one mentions the stolen glyphs lining the mirage's carpet. Your whiskey arrives with a side of narrative. House special aged in ceremonial pulque barrels, claims the server. It's 95% marketing, but your throat catches fire just right. Nearby, a financier stacks chips like miniature pyramids, his ring flashing KO wheels, lightning god insignia. Accident. Ask the croupier smirking at his tells. The pit boss drifts by her blazer cut like a conquistador's doublet. She halts at table 9, where a retiree debates doubling down. His cards: Queen of Hearts, 7 of Spades. The dealer's concealed ace winks through a scratch on its back, just like Ixchel's nail marks on that cocoa-stained board. You almost mention it, then remember Vegas, reward silence. A cocktail spill reveals the carpet's secret, woven with Mayan numerals. Step on the glyph for 18, and waiters materialize with comped tequila. Quirky fact: the Bellagio's original vault held a jade Patolli piece until 99. Rumor says it vanished into a high-stakes poker pot, along with someone's marriage license. No one questions the lucky Obsidian lounge's blood-red walls. Inside, cigar smoke thick enough to choke a scribe. A mural depicts Cortez and Moctezuma shaking hands, their other grips clenched around loaded dice. You order something expensive. The bartender slides a napkin first. Scrawled on it, 3 decks left. Bet the farm on 16. Your phone buzzes. The botanist's text glows. Gold flakes in beetle shells equals Mayan glitter. Clubs dusted on high rollers now. Above the bar, a disco ball spins, its fractured light echoing shattered Alamalletsley balls. History repeats with better bass drops. A commotion erupts at the baccarat table. Some duke's descendant just wagered his Napa vineyard on a 3rd-generation forgery, a jadeite chess piece. The dealer's fingers twitch toward a panic button. You recall Packle's bean now nestled in your desk drawer, still oozing the confidence of kings. Slot machines scream jackpot. Coins cascade like fool's gold. Historians still argue whether modern card counting evolved from lunar cycle trackers or just desperate math. You pocket your meager winnings. A waitress winces as you pass. Her name tag reads Ixchel. The universe's sense of humor needs recalibrating. Dawn leaks through tinted windows, the click-clack of chips replaced by janitors buffing away last night's sins. Outside, a tour bus disgorges caffeine-starved pilgrims, their guides megaphone barons. And here, Senor Cortez lost 300 cocoa beans to a concubine. Laughter follows. The past tolerates our punchlines for now. Your Uber arrives smelling of validation and pine air freshener. As you slide in, the driver gestures to the strip's fading neon. They're building a new casino inspired by Aztecs, Incas, the pyramid guys. You murmur something about chocolate taxes. His shrug says more than steely. Back at the hotel, minibar tequila whispers sweet nothings. You pour a shot over ice shaped like Tilalak's tears. The meltwater forms a puddle resembling that infrared cheat grid, or maybe your student loan statement. Either way, the house always wins. Sleep comes fitfully. Somewhere beyond the fountain's roar, a jaguar growls at valet whistles. Its claws click against pavement, tracking the scent of melted cacao and regret. Your hotel robe pools at your feet like a defeated banner. The jaguar's phantom growl lingers in the AC's rattle. Or maybe it's your stomach after that fourth room service tamale. You flick the TV on. An infomercial hawk dives into frame, hawking Mayan-themed crypto coins. Buy now before the calendar ends again. He squawks. You mute him. Silence floods back, carrying the faint clink of ice in the hallway minibar. 3 a.m. logic whispers. Check the safe. Inside, a cocktail napkin scribbled with poker tips. A complimentary chocolate coin wrapped in foil. And that obsidian die you pocketed at the craps table. Its edges bite your palm. The same volcanic glass that gutted Lord Smokefrog's Gambit back in 694. Historians agree he staked his irrigation canals on a lunar eclipse. Never saw the Spanish influenza coming. Your phone glows with a wiki binge. Did you know? Blair's a header. Warring lords used spider monkeys as living game pieces until one alliance ended with a chieftain's ear getting gnawed off. You toss the device aside. Through the window, the strip pulses like a sacrificial brazier. Red digits crown the Luxor pyramid 107 degrees at 2:15 a.m. Perfect weather for hubris. The ice machine down the hall groans like a dying Pitts ball court. You imagine it coughing up more than cubes, maybe a jade pendant, a teeth-studded warchief's belt, a memo from the Spanish crown. What spills out melts instantly. Vegas devours symbols faster than Tikal's sinkholes. A maid's cart creaks by, its detergent reek overriding copal incense ghosts. Her name tag glints. Exquick. Too perfect. You recall the myth. The hero twins mom, reborn from a spiny oyster. This Exquick just wants her shift done. She side-eyes your bare feet. You pretend to study the fire sprinkler. Muffled shouts erupt 2 doors down. You said 7 was lucky. A man slurs. His companion retorts something about never trusting a bartender from Belmopan. Their scuffle shakes, framed prints of chack masks. Gold leaf flakes off mid-yell. Maintenance will bill them. History charges interest. You palm the obsidian die. Cold seeps into your lifeline. 6 sides, 6 ways to ruin. Lord Smokefrog probably rolled his into a cenote before the fever took him. Modernity's version involves 3 a.m. Uber Eats and tweeting regrets. The walls breathe in, exhaling someone's vape smoke shaped like K-Awiel's lightning bolt. Fridge hum builds to a ceremonial drumbeat. Miniature liquor bottles tremble, their plastic caps rattling like snake tails. You crack a vodka to nitrous enough to impress Tilalak. The first sip tastes of acrid rain and bad decisions. The second, a fading dynasty's hope. bedside lamp flickers, casting your shadow as a war captain on the ceiling. You salute your cardboard cutout opponent. His move, a desk chair piled with laundry. Your move, charging phone cables into a makeshift sun shield. Let's see Hernan Cortez raid this stronghold. A cockroach scuttles along the baseboard, its antennae twitching like bookie's fingers. You freeze. It freezes. Stalemate. Historians still argue whether Palin's collapse came from overfarming or a pest control epidemic. You toss a chocolate coin. The roach snubs it. Vegan, probably. The TV unmutes itself. Now it's a pawn shop ad, a mustached guy hawking genuine Mistec reliquaries. His proof, a rubber stamp certificate, and a chihuahua in a feathered headdress. Authentic pre-Columbian spirit included, he barks. The dog pees on a faux codex. You salute their grift. King Packle would have doubled their taxes. Dawn's first light creeps under the curtains pale as a surrender flag. You count your remaining cash. Enough for breakfast, or one reckless spin of the roulette wheel. The jaguar growls again, closer now. It's either in the vents or your left ventricle. Your reflection mocks you from the bathroom mirror, hair askew. Eyes sporting the same bags Ixchel carried into exile. The faucet drips in Morse code. Bet, fold, bet. Fold towels embroidered with Quetzalcoatl's face, judge, silently. You splash water everywhere, an improvised rain ritual. Keycards slide into nearby slots. Winners cheer. Losers rant about hot-cold streaks. You stretch across the bed, a ruler surveying your linen kingdom. The ceiling fan's whir becomes a victory hymn or a funeral dirge, depends on the next 10 minutes. Airport shuttle horns blare below. A tour group photobombs the Bellagio fountains, their smiles eroding faster than limestone steely. You wonder if they'll visit the actual Yucatan or settle for margarita salt rims shaped like pyramids. Either way, the lesson holds. Risk leans against your doorframe. Breath reeks of luck's last gasp. You offer the obsidian die. He pockets it, gifts you a coupon for the breakfast buffet. Fair trade. All empires negotiate their end. Jim's shoes squeak past your room, some optimist jogging off last night's sins. You track their progress through the wall. Left, right, left, right. A march echoing Teotihuacan's labor crews hauling volcanic rock. The rhythm falters at the ice machine. Everyone meets their nemesis, eventually. Your watch buzzes, a calendar alert. Leaving Las Vegas in 4H12M, the numbers glow poison green. 4 hours to replicate Lord Smokefrog's glory or Lady Ixchel's exile. You drain the vodka. The bottle cap reads, "Better luck, next era." Housekeeping's vacuum roars down the hall, swallowing crumbs and confessions. X-Quick's cart blocks the elevator. Stalemate again. You take the stairs. Each step hums with the phantom weight of cocoa bean sacks. 8 flights later, the lobby's chill slaps you awake. A businessman argues over his bill, incensed by a ceremonial cacao surcharge. The clerk remains stone-faced. Classic Ah Puch vs. Maze God standoff. You stride past, chin high, toward the taxi line. Let them battle invoices. Your war's already lost, and won and forgotten. The cab's vinyl seat sears your thighs. Driver's playlist oozes synthetic marimba. As you pull away, a howl cuts through traffic, primal enough to be real. The Jaguar's final verdict. You don't look back, betting windows close, but the board resets at dusk. You stumble through Tikal's souvenir stand gauntlet, hawkers thrusting Jaguar-themed keychains and ceremonial shot glasses. One vendor winks, offering a genuine Obsidian chess app prototype. The 5-star rating. All his cousins. You decline. History's best cons outlive their inventors. Night falls like a velvet anvil. Guides in foam rubber headdresses herd tourists toward the Grand Plaza. Their LED torches cast pixelated shadows on temple. Stone steps worn smooth from 1,000 years of pilgrim sneakers. A teenager mutters, "This better be lit." The puns unintended, probably. The reenactment begins with a cringe, an intern playing chalk via leaf blower. He wields it like a thunder deity with a Home Depot addiction. Fake rain soaks the front row. Someone's Instagram story just peaked. Your throne is a folding chair labeled reserved for high rollers. They mean suckers who tipped 20 quetzals. The game board materializes, lasers projecting onto weathered stone. Tacky, sure, but so were Lord Canbor's golden nipple rings. 2 actors in bathrobe-sized tunics pantomime a cocoa bet. Their dramatic gasps sync with strobe lights. Epilepsy warnings scroll unnoticed on the jumbotron. Behold, booms the announcer. The infamous Coco checkmate. He mispronounces it checkmate. Purists in the crowd weep quietly. Espresso beans replace sacred cacao. A Brit in a lobster print shirt bets his entire latte, double or nothing, mate. The guide hesitates, then accepts. Historians still argue whether the original games involved actual strategy or just Tetro for drunk nobles. A kid sneezes on the hologram board. Glyphs glitch into emojis. A sweating skull winks. A serpent flosses. The crowd howls. Somewhere, a stela cracks microscopically. You duck behind a popcorn cart. Moonlight washes over replica headdresses, their plastic quetzal feathers drooping like melted crayons. A guide whispers, "Psst, real betel nuts under the table. $5 a chew." Tradition meets side hustle. The main event stalls when Chalk's leaf blower dies. Actors improvise, thumping iPads for storm sounds. A thunder squat ringtone interrupts. The crowd applauds anyway. Ancient lords probably faced worse. Like that time, a howler monkey stole King Bird Jaguar's wig mid-ritual. Fireworks erupt pinks and greens foreign to the classic Maya palette. Sparks silhouette Temple Ivy, where a real lord once gambled his nephew's freedom. Modern sparks rain down, igniting a trash can. Security tackles it with souvenir blankets. The show mustn't pause. You pocket a fallen espresso bean, your own cursed token. Guides tout the gift shop's post-conquest section. Cortez action figures. Smallpox blankets reimagined as picnic throws. A grandma buys a Chichen Itza snow globe. It snows in Merida, about never. Dawn threatens behind the pyramids. Teens slink off to vape by the sacred cenote, now a no-swimming pit filled with soda cans. You linger as crews dismantle the laser gear. A worker kicks aside a foam jaguar head, its smirk undimmed. Somewhere beyond the ticket booths, howler monkeys scream their review. The last shuttle bus idles, exhaling diesel over copal-scented air. Your espresso bean feels heavier now, a tiny make-you-or-break-you orb. You drop it down a storm drain. Let the rats deal. Flashlights bob toward the parking lot. The Arctic chill of AC. The beep of a scanner checking wristbands. The moist slap of flip-flops on limestone. One kid yells, epic fail. His voice caroms off structures that survived 5 collapses. Tikal's ghosts yawn. Your hotel van smells of wet snorkels and existential dread. The driver blasts reggaeton remixes of Mayan flute music. You press your cheek to the window, past and present smearing together like face paint in the rain. The board resets. The bets continue. The kings still lose. The hotel van's AC unit dies, just past the Gracias por Visitor Tikal sign. Its last gasp a mist of mildew and despair. Reggaeton Maya fades into static, the driver muttering over a cracked phone. Your window fogs with breath and diesel, pyramid silhouettes dissolving into smudges. Somewhere behind you, a foam jaguar head tumbles into a ditch. Its plastic eyes keep watch. Your room smells of lemon floor cleaner decades. The AC remote duct-taped like a hostage. You collapse onto scratchy sheets. Tomorrow's agenda floats nearby. 7 a.m. sunrise hike, no refunds for cloud cover. The ceiling fan creaks a lullaby, its rhythm older than Spanish vowels. Sleep comes in fragments. First, a flicker of fireflies behind your eyelids. Then cobblestones, smooth and sweat-slick underfoot. The plaza reforms, no laser grids now. Just raw obsidian gleaming under true moonlight. Lords whisper in a language your bones recognize. Cocoa beans clattering on basalt. Their bets taste like smoke and honey. A howler monkey screams. Your dream self whips around, but it's just a staff member's phone alarm. Reality bleeds through. A maid's cart squeaks down the hall, ice machine groans. Fluorescent lights hum the song of 3 a.m. You dive back under. Now you're the spectator no one sees. A stone board stretches endlessly, its pieces carved from midnight and jade. 2 players materialize. One robed in jaguar pelts, the other in bulletproof vestments. They wager deeds to forgotten cities. The bets rise as the board shrinks, squares collapsing like dying stars. Cracked obsidian cuts your phantom feet. Someone really should have mopped. Dawn's first bruise-colored light seeps through blinds. Your phone buzzes, a promotional text. Urgent, 50% off Belizean zipline today only. You hurl it into the mini fridge. The room stills. Dust motes float like cocoa pollen. Final dream. You're knee-deep in a cenote, caramel-colored water staining your shins. The chessboard floats, pieces lashed to logs. A lord in a fedora bets 3 canoes and a photocopier. His opponent, a woman with a Chicago Bulls tattoo, pushes forward a figurine dripping with algae. The waters churn. Something brushes your ankle, a stone paw, or maybe a soda can. Your eyes snap open. Humidity glues sheets to skin. The fan's dead. Power's out. A distant generator chugs like a dying beast. You fumble for water, knocking over the Mayan wellness, turn-down cocoa. It stains the carpet, irreversible. Real cocoa beans once bought entire militias. Now they're just exfoliant in $60 scrubs. Historians still argue whether nobles actually played the game, or just let underlings fight proxy wars over carved rock. Outside, a tour group stumbles toward breakfast. They found a new board last year, a guide lies. Under a Starbucks in Oaxaca, the crowd gasps. A child demands a latte. You press your palm to the window, heat biting back. Somewhere below, workers reset the plaza for tonight's show. They'll prop up foam steely, reload the leaf blower, sprinkle espresso beans like fake offerings. The real game never stopped. It just fractalized into timeshares, crypto influencer sponsorships. Experts think TikToks of the reenactments get more views than the actual ruins. A museum in Dresden keeps 1,600-year-old game pieces under glass. Visitors press coins to the case for luck. Guards confiscate 87 cents daily. Your eyelids rebel. The bed becomes a peat bog. Sounds distort. Maid carts morph into royal processions. Shouting guides into chanting priests. Did the ancients ever tire? Probably. Archaeologists found a king's tomb with a stone pillow, etched complaints about courtly tedium beneath his carved head. A mosquito drills your ear. You surrender, letting sleep drag you under a final time. Jungle rot and decay, then cold stone. The plaza's back, but empty. Moonlit dust, devil's twist where lords once stood. Their chessboard remains. You kneel, fingers tracing glyphs sharper than modern lasers. One square bleeds resin. It stains your cuticle for 12 dream hours. The jaguar arrives without sound. Not a spirit, not a hallucination. Just muscle and hunger and night made flesh. It sniffs the board, rejecting the cocoa beans. Too soft, too human, you freeze. Breath suspends. The beast's pupils swallow the world, their depths flickering with familiar fires. Lasers, torches, smartphone flashes. Its growl starts low, vibrating your molars, then rises into a roar that shatters dream logic. The final bet echoes in your bones, a wager between time and teeth. Somewhere real, paws press against buried obsidian. Somewhere imagined, a lord laughs. Somewhere in between your alarm blares. The jaguar's growl outlasts it all. The van's AC wheezes its last breath, milky mist clinging to your lashes as jungle gives way to highway. Reggaeton's static fades, replaced by the driver's hissed arguments. Pyramid shadows bleed into the fogged glass, your exhale painting masks on the window. A foam jaguar face tumbles roadside, plastic eyes glinting in the rearview. Its gaze lingers, long after the ditch swallows it whole. Your room greets you with lemon-scented decay, the AC remote mummified in tape. Scratchy sheets rasp against sunburned skin. A brochure mocks from the nightstand. Sunrise hike, 7 a.m. No refunds for clouds. The ceiling fan croaks, a relic older than Cortez's god. Sleep arrives in frayed scraps. First fireflies, then ancient stones under bare feet, the plaza reborn under raw moonlight. Shadow lords murmur in tongue unfamiliar, cocoa beans clattering like dice. Their laughter tastes of burnt honey. A howler's shriek yanks you back, reality seeping through. Ice machines groaning, fluorescent bulbs buzzing hymns of insomnia. You sink again, a chessboard of jade and obsidian endless. Two figures wager crumbling cities. Jaguar pelts versus Kevlar. The board shrinks, squares vanishing like breath on glass. Dawn arrives bruised. Your phone vibrates, 50% off ZIPLINES. You bury it in the mini fridge. Dust floats, cocoa-scented ghosts. Final descent, knee-deep in cenote water, chess pieces lashed to driftwood. A fedora-clad Lord bets fax machines. His rival raises an algae-dripping queen. Your eyes snap open. Sheets cling damp as jungle soil. The fan lies dead. A generator coughs in the distance. Spilled wellness cocoa stains the rug, once currency for armies, now scrubbed from tourist heels. Scholars still debate if kings played the game, or just bet on blood. Outside, guides spin tailies of Starbucks excavated artifacts. Crowds gasp. A child cries for whipped cream. You press a palm to the glass, heat answering. Below, workers reset foam temples, reload leaf blowers, scatter coffee grounds as sacraments. The true game never ended. It fractalized into timeshares, tweets, silent auctions. A Dresden museum displays ancient pieces. Visitors press pennies to the glass for luck. Guards pocket 87 cents a day. Your eyelids wait. The mattress becomes quicksand. Cartwheels morph into palanquins, shouting guides into chants. Even kings tired, their stone pillows etched with royal boredom. A mosquito wails. You succumb, jungle musk, then cold stone. The plaza stands empty, dust devils dancing where lords once roared. The chessboard remains. Your finger traces glyphs, sap bleeding onto skin. The jaguar comes, not spirit or dream. Pure night-coiled muscle. It sniffs cocoa beans, scoffs. Too tame, you halt. Its pupils swallow the sky, reflecting firelight camera flashes. Strip mall neon. The growl begins in your bones, rising until dreams shatter. Somewhere, claws tap buried obsidian. Somewhere, a laugh floats on diesel air. Somewhere, your alarm whimpers. The jaguar's purr rumbles deeper, a lullaby older than time. Let it cradle you heavy and warm as dawn swallows the stars.